But the part we're going to do right now, I know you'll enjoy it. It's part of every gathering where we allow one person, and this has been prearranged so that they can prepare for it, the opportunity to share their salvation testimony. Reggie, would you come? And we do this for a couple reasons. One, so we can each get to know each other in the group that we're with and see what God has done for each of us, and that's a big encouragement. And we also do it to provide a platform to practice from so that we can rehearse that testimony in 5 minutes or less and get it down to a format where we can actually take this testimony and use it in public. Those of you watching on video or by the link, if you would like the guidelines that we send out by email that will help you to be able to prepare to do this yourself, just email us and we'll send that information to you.
I gave my life to the Lord. It's been over 30-some years ago. I was went to a revival on Marquette Road and 67th Street in Chicago. They was having a revival. The evangelist was Evangelist John Smith from Chicago, but from Kansas City. Let me back up. My story is that I started drinking at the age of in 7th grade. I took my first drink then, and from there it just began to spiral. Once I got to high school, I played sports, baseball, swimming, and stuff like that. It was something that I enjoyed doing. And swimming was not challenging. It was just something that at an early age, it was something that I wanted to do and did it. But when I got to high school, things began to change. Not only that I played sports, but I was introduced to drugs and more alcohol. And then I began to experiment to get into drugs and smoking marijuana, and not only smoking it, but growing it and eventually even attempting to sell it. But here's the thing about it. We would even, at swimming, we would even even drink. It sounds crazy, but we were drinking and still swim. And back then it was the grace of God, because we would swim and get high and still win. That's just God, the grace of God in our life. But doing all of that, I just knew there was something missing. I knew this. If you ever had that feeling that you're not supposed to be here. This is not you. This wasn't me. But still, you just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper involved, and didn't know how to get out. And finally, I quit swimming. That was one of the first things I did. I quit the swim team. Get ready to graduate from high school and whatever. Got a job, and when I got a job there, and what the job did, it just introduced me to more alcohol and drugs, because it was working at the Ambassador East and the first pump room with the entertainment group. So I got a chance to meet a lot of famous people. And when you meet people like that, there's the money is not a problem, drugs and different things like that. But you still know that on the inside there was something missing. And they was having a revival at that time with my mother and her sister at the church there. And they kept asking me to go, and of course I kept saying I'm not ready. I don't want to go. Once for me, but God will set you up. And so she asked me to take her to church. So I took her to church, and when I took her to church, the first time I didn't go in, didn't do anything like that. But sometimes when people keep asking you, you want to get them off your back. And I say I'll take you, and I just went in. But during that revival, God is a great master of getting your attention and bringing you in. And that's what he did in my life. He brought me in. And in the midst of that, and when he brought me in, when I saw people getting saved, and I saw the hunger and the change in people's life, because my nephew had went there as well, and I knew his life. I knew this young man, how he was into drugs, how he got high and everything. And I saw what God did for him. I saw how God changed his life. How that same night that when he went to the altar, God delivered him, saved him and everything, and set him free. And then I had that hunger on the inside of me. I wanted that. And you and I know that was God setting me up. You know, I said I wanted the same thing. But Evangelist John Smith was running that revival, and he was there just for a week. Then nothing happened. The first time I went, nothing happened. The second time, the third time, but it was on that Friday night when I went into the men's room. I said, God, I got to have you. At that time, I wanted him more, I guess, more than he wanted me. I said, God, I got to have you. And I went back out there into the service, and there was two mothers there. One was saying, hold on, another was saying, let go. And so I guess they said, hold on to God and let go to the world. And seeking God during that time, God saved me that night, that same night. Not only did he save me, but he filled me with the Spirit of God, with the Holy Ghost, that same night. I didn't have to go to the AAA or take a 10-step program. He delivered me from drugs and alcohol that same night. We're talking about what God can do. That same night, I didn't have the taste for it anymore. I didn't want it anymore. He changed my life that same night. I used to drive around with beer and stuff in the car. But from that point on, I went from driving around with beer into donuts and milk. Yeah, I guess, but you become a cop or whatever. But he changed you, because when you come in contact with God, you cannot stay the same. Everything in my life began to shift and began to change. Now I had a hunger for the things of God. And in the process of that, he healed me. He delivered me. Changed everything about my life. He gave me the thing about God. God will heal you and give you because there's a package deal that comes along with salvation. I was told never to swim. And in the midst of that, I was diagnosed with what they call polyarthritis. Polyarthritis and rheumatic fever. Polyarthritis is a crippling disease from the waist down. And my knees began to swell where I couldn't walk. And when I went to the hospital, that same night, a nurse came in. I never seen her again. I don't know, it had to be an angel. And she began to challenge me. And that same night, God healed me from polyarthritis, rheumatic fever. Haven't had any problem since. And that's the grace of God. And that's my salvation testimony. I have been saved ever since. Amen. Praise God.